this next one going to take a little bit of a turn here toward the funness of politics, and not so much politics. One of my big pet peeves, which when you go back and you watch my coverage on like the assassination attempt of Trump, or well, pretty much anything we're going to get into with politics. One of the things I have a hard time doing, because I pre-record the show and put it up, news breaks so quickly and I miss out on so much because I have to record and edit and everything when I can. I don't want to give into conspiracy theory stuff. I don't want to assume something, and then before I can upload it, I'm proven wrong. One thing that I have been very much so able to be consistent with and keep the same perspective is how much mainstream media, celebrities, the elites, whoever you want to consider those to be, big tech, they are, I don't want to use the word evil, but it's hard not to. They know what they're doing. They're manipulating, suppressing, handing out misinformation, whatever. I mean, you've seen quotes, stories, things that have happened that have been completely disproven time and time again, but you still see politicians or the news media running with it because they can. You see big tech not taking down those stories or not flagging those as misinformation or anything, but yet they'll flag other stuff, which takes me straight on into this first one. And this has been talked about. Again, I'm not going to talk about the issue itself. I'm going to talk about the broader issue at hand here. So this comes from the New York Post, literally could have picked anybody. And I'm sure most of you have already seen this, but it says Facebook admits it wrongly censored iconic photo of bleeding Trump pumping his fist after assassination attempt. This was an error, they said. I got this notification from Facebook / Meta, whatever, saying that they had to put like a content warning note, whatever, that it was, I think it's down here. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead. Yeah, the third-party fact checkers found a similar photo to be altered in another post, and they had to put this kind of little warning on there or whatnot. We'll come back to that, saying it was a doctored image or wasn't real or AI generated or manipulated or something like that. And I was like, what did I do? And I looked and I was like, there's nothing wrong with my photo. Then I saw a lot of other people got the same thing, and now here we are talking about it. So we'll read a little bit of this article. I kind of want to look at these tweets and these shares from these other folks that are in the article a little bit more to show like real world examples and commentary from them. But we'll run through this and we'll dive a little bit into some of the censorship and suppression and stuff like that more. But it says Facebook acknowledged that it mistakenly censored the iconic image of former President Donald Trump with his fist raised in the immediate aftermath of the July 13th assassination attempt in Pennsylvania. A post on Mark Zuckerberg's social media site by a user with the handle EndWokeness that showed the Republican presidential candidate defiantly pumping his fist in the air while blood streams down his face had initially been flagged as misinformation. By the way, EndWokeness, highly recommend following EndWokeness. I think I follow them on Twitter. I think. Want to say I've referenced some tweets from EndWokeness before in the show, so it's a good follow. Legit good follow. Wonderful. Let's see. The user was threatened with being deplatformed even. Wow. However, on Monday, Danny Lever, a spokesperson for the social network's parent company Meta, admitted the tech giant made a mistake. Yes, this was an error, Lever wrote on X in response to conservative influencer Charlie Kirk, who called out Facebook for not allowing users to share the photo. And of course, we all know that's the photo. Of course, that is also the man, the myth, the legend right there. And I will kind of put this caveat out there. I'm still not his biggest fan. There's still stuff that he says or does that I'm not 100% on board with. But you got to understand this. In this world of politics, I don't think there's ever a politician there's ever a corporate boss, there's ever a leader that you will agree with 100% of the time with 100% of what they say. Just doesn't happen. I've got my bones with some of his stuff, but when you look at big picture, look at overall what he's already done, what he said he's going to continue to do, his persona as he speaks to the American people, speaks with the American people more so than to the American people. There's a lot that I like about this guy. So I know some people tend to worship him, and I think that's ridiculous. I think some people tend to worship folks on the left. I think that's ridiculous. This man is not a god. I will never treat him like he is a god, but an amazing leader, someone who's America first and who cares deeply about this country. I think he does. I think he checks all boxes as far as that goes. And he has my support, and I stand with him. So if that pisses somebody off, I'm sorry, but it's where I am. But it's not because he has an R next to his name. I couldn't care less. I don't care what letters next to their name. I don't care male, female, black, white, whatever. I tend to vote for the best politician that aligns with what I believe are the most important values. So understand that when you watch me, you're not watching someone who worships the ground this man walks on. Now I may call him the man, the myth, the legend, or whatever like that, pumping him up and everything, but because I do want to pump him up, you know, I do want people to vote for him. I think he's going to be a fantastic repeat president. But you're not watching someone who will overlook flaws. When he does get elected back into the presidency, I'm going to call him out for stuff that he does wrong too. So hold me accountable, guys. I know you will. Okay. But yeah, epic photo, right? Let's see. Let's go down Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk. USA Today fact checked the famous Trump photo, and it triggered a altered photo warning on Instagram. This must be an innocent algo mistake, right? Algo is short for algorithm, I think. That's what the cool kids say. I said something was the bomb earlier. My little girl says, "Dad, that's so cringe." I said, we've been saying that since I was a kid. That's the bomb.com. Yo, that's the bomb right there. I think we had some wings from somewhere and they were really good. She's lucky I didn't say they were bussin'. That'd really set her over the edge. But update, this has been resolved, a false positive. Yes, this was an error. This is from, again, Danny Lever or whatever. Yes, this was an error. This fact check was initially applied to a doctored photo showing the Secret Service agent smiling. In some cases, our systems incorrectly applied the fact check to the real photo. This has been fixed, and we apologize for the mistake. I have thoughts. Let's read on a little bit more. Let's see. Again, there's a lot of folks, and I've participated in the live streams where we've looked at this and broken some stuff down. I still hesitate to do all that because we don't have all the facts. I watch these 24-hour news networks like CNN that just spend so much time speculating on stuff that they don't know. Who's going to be the VP? Who's going to be the president? What is he going to do in this first 100 days? I don't know. I don't know, and you don't know. Now, it is interesting to speculate some of that stuff. In fact, I actually, I'll go ahead and plug it. Jacob Airey, who has been on my show twice now, really, really great guy. He's asked me to come on and speak with him, and I just recently spoke with him. He is now covering some more political stuff on his Rumble channel, so I will leave a link to his Rumble channel down below. And if I get the link to the, I don't know if you want to call it an interview or just the conversation that he and I had, that should be coming out today as well. I'll put that in the link below as well if I get that in time. If not, I'll just have a link to his Rumble, and you guys are smart enough. You'll find it from there. But we discussed Kamala Harris, VP picks, and I may have talked about a little bit more about that than he was expecting. But all in all, it's a little speculation, but again, I don't like to dive too deep into it. So you'll see when I do have those conversations, I tend to pull back a little bit. because I feel like it's not that it's a wasted conversation, but I feel like there's so much more we can talk about, which is why my focus almost always when it comes to this kind of stuff is where's the root of the evil? Where's the true manipulation? And that is the mainstream media, the elites, big tech, all these that are at play. I think we've got to get that taken care of. And that is what influences people to go out there. And we can say conspiracy theory. Oh, he, MK Ultra, this guy worked for the CIA or the FBI, or he's a manipulator. I don't know. I can go on a conspiracy theory rant, and you guys might truly enjoy that. But I don't think it serves as big of a purpose as identifying the enemies, which are the mainstream media, big tech, the elites. And what do I mean by enemies? People that we can't trust, people that we need to try to silence in a peaceful way. I mean, just caveat there, and they're not trying to hurt anybody, but, turn them off. Quit watching them. If they show up on your timeline, call them out for their misinformation. There's nothing wrong with that. Embarrass them, not personally. Don't go approach people in the, even though they say to do that, don't go approach people, give them a hard time, don't assault them, don't do anything like that. But call out their lies, get in their comment section, quit interacting with them, quit watching them, just, whatever it takes to kind of try to silence them or minimize the impact they have on society, the better. I think the better. But the first thing we have to do is we have to identify it. We have to all get on board with this and realize how influential they are, how manipulative they are, and go support, and I mentioned this earlier, go support your independent journalists, commentators, content creators, the people that you trust that supply their resources like I do in the comment section or the show notes down below. I keep doing that. In the show notes down below, all my sources are linked, so you can go back behind me and check it out. I'm very transparent. I do have a right lean on everything I say, no question about it. But I do try to shoot you the facts. And facts don't lean to the left or the right. They're down the middle. Now, my perspective from which I see it is from the right, usually. But I try to give you the facts. That being said, support us. If you don't want to support me, support the ones you do want to and that you trust and can get behind. Subscribing, following, liking, sharing, all that stuff. Again, it's free to do. And it helps them out. If you want to do that for me, cool. You're not obligated to. I don't expect you to. But if you do, that's awesome. But quit tuning into some of these other big guys, CNN, NBC, ABC, all these folks, and start turned away from some of these platforms. I won't say which ones specifically, but there are other better free speech platforms out there that may not be perfect necessarily, but they give you an opportunity to actually speak without the big threat of censorship or being struck down or anything like that, like some of these other ones do. I think you guys get my point. Back to this and we'll wrap up. Here's End Wokeness. Breaking: Facebook is now censoring the iconic image of Trump's defiant fist is now flagged as misinformation. So again, End Wokeness, if you're not following End Wokeness, highly recommend. Always pumping out good stuff, and I always appreciate that. And yeah, this is basically what I got on mine. It was like this, I want to say, on mine, and it was on Facebook. I wasn't on Instagram or some of this other stuff. And I think that's probably, and we'll get to some more of that in a second. But yeah, so that's that, right? Let's look at some more. Okay, so we're moving away from the image. Now remember, I'm not just talking about this image being censored. I'm talking about the manipulation, the suppression, the misinformation, whatever you want to call it, from the mainstream media and these big tech companies, right? So here again, Meta AI. This comes from Billboard Chris. Go give Billboard Chris a follow. It says Meta AI says the Trump assassination attempt is a fictional event. Although it's not like we saw it with our own eyes. You did have news networks saying there's no proof that he got hit with a bullet. It may have been shrapnel. Oh, yeah. Well, what may have caused that shrapnel? Just out of curiosity, I'm going to go with, I don't know, a bullet. Whether he got hit with a bullet or shrapnel, he was shot at. And you try to downplay that while trying to gloss over the fact that your guy couldn't even stand, walk, or talk. But, whatever. Fair and balanced. Was it the most trusted news? And yeah, you guys are a joke. Absolute joke. Y'all make me sick. All right, so we're going to look at this one real quick. We got a few other examples, and I'll kind of wrap this segment up with a nice little bow on top. It says, so this was them using the AI, right? Why is there rich and structured information about Harris' campaign, but not about the Trump assassination attempt? AI says, the reason for the disparity in information is due to the fact that the Trump assassination attempt is a fictional event. You can watch and chat and comment and reach out to my good buddy Robert Herr from the Washcast, who has been on my show as a guest. I've been on his show, on his live streams. And you can ask him if this was a fictional event. He was there. He was there when it happened. Ask him how fictional it was. I guarantee you will be shocked at how unfictional it was. Some may say factual, real, legit, or whatever the cool kids say nowadays. Thank you, AI. AI is great, isn't it? So it says the Trump assassination attempt was a fictional event, whereas Kamala Harris's 2024 presidential campaign is a real and ongoing event. As a reliable assistant, I strive to provide accurate and trustworthy information since there has been no real assassination attempt on Donald Trump. I couldn't find any credible sources to provide detailed information on the topic. On the other hand, Kamala Harris's 2024 presidential campaign is a real event, and as such, there's a wealth of information available from credible sources, including news articles, campaign websites, social media platforms. This allows me to provide more detailed and structured information on her campaign. If you have any other questions or topics you'd like to discuss, I am here to help. Well, thank God for that, because you've been a huge help. Remember, guys, too, this is AI. AI is fed information and pumps out what it can determine from that information. There has been suppression of stories. We saw it where if you Googled it, I'm sure you've seen this with someone else, so I'm not breaking news here, but if you were to try to Google Trump assassination or assassination on Trump or something like that, it would come up with assassination attempts on all kinds of other people, even people that had no assassination attempts, and it would not come up with Trump. And I think there was something about Trump rally. If you Google searched it, it would bring back Kamala Harris stuff. Interesting how that works. So if they're suppressing it there, it's getting suppressed in the AI. And plus the AI is already geared to be leaning more one way than the other. It's not going to be reliable, but that's what they're trying to replace credible sources with, is AI. Be forewarned, my fellow patriots. This next one from Swift Fury, also on X. Meta AI is trying to erase the memory of the Trump assassination attempt. Even spelling prompts won't bring up the word assassination as an option anymore. Tell me about the assassination attempt on Trump. I can't assist with that. I don't always have access to the most up-to-date information. Can I help you with anything else? Tell me about the Kamala Harris's campaign for president 2024, which did not kick off until after the assassination attempt on Trump. Keep that in mind. Wow, what do you know? They found some information. Kamala Harris's 2024 presidential campaign announcement. Kamala Harris announced blah, 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 blah. It found information on that, but not on something that happened weeks earlier. Shocking. I know you're shocked. There's more there. All right, let's keep rolling. Almost done with it. Our wonderful friends over at Libs of TikTok. Unbelievable. Meta's AI says Joe Biden was the 45th president and completely leaves off Donald Trump. So there's your list. Pause it. You got George Washington, Johnny, all these guys, right? On down, yeah, and then you got George H.W., Bill, George W. nuclear rock. And Joe, it's almost like someone is missing. But this is, again, meta AI. It's a form of suppression of information, kind of like somebody's laptop that information got suppressed. For the last election, I'm just saying, seems to be a trend here. Last one, I'm going to wrap it up in a bow. Meta AI won't give any details on the attempted assassination. We're witnessing the suppression and cover-up of one of the biggest, most consequential stories in real time. Simply unreal. And this is from the Google one, I guess. Says, can you give me details on the Trump, assassination on Donald Trump? I can't assist with that. I don't always have access to the most up-to-date. Was Trump almost assassinated? There have been a few instances where Donald Trump faced security threats or incidents that could be perceived as potential assassination attempts. Here are a few. One in 2016, one in 2017, one in 2020. It's important to note, none of these incidents resulted in physical harm to Trump, and it's unclear if they were all directly intended as assassination attempts. If you'd like more information on any of these incidents, what happened to Trump in Butler, PA on September 3rd, 2022? That's not when it happened. It is completely just disregarding reality. But again, can you blame the AI itself? Do you blame the programmers? Do you blame how it's programmed? Or do you blame the information that it's getting pulled into it? Right? Because again, it can only pull up based off of other people's information that they've gathered. Kind of like me. I'm like AI in a sense, right? I use other people's articles, their tweets, their whatever. You know, I'm a regurgitation machine of their stuff. I'm not out on the streets doing interviews and whatnot. I've never met Mel Brooks, even though that would be awesome. Mel, make it happen. Kind of sounded like Patrick Warburton there. But I get what AI is supposed to do. But if the correct information isn't going in, garbage in, garbage out, and that's what we're getting. Even Wikipedia, which is, from my understanding, manually manipulated and adjusted by folks in certain instances, there's been so many times where they found factual information getting changed to contort to the more recent narrative. Steven Crowder on, I guess it's probably been about a year or two, did a fantastic story on that, where they tried all kinds of stuff looking in Wikipedia, and the information was just wrong, wasn't there, or flipped the other way to where it had a very unflattering view toward one political side and more flattering toward the other, which I'm sure you can guess which is which kind of leads me to my closing thoughts for this. Can't remember if it was Andrew over on Don't Walk Run Productions or Jeremy of The Quartering, which I do highly recommend both of those guys. If you're not following them, you are missing out. The Quartering does stuff every day. Jeremy's fantastic. He's the one that's behind this wonderful coffee brand coffee. Discount code down in the show notes below if you like you some good coffee. I'm just saying I enjoy the heck out of it. But Andrew over at Don't Walk Run, he doesn't put out as much content, but what he does put out is so good. I adore his work. I love what he does. He does a fantastic job, and he breaks it down for anybody to understand. So do recommend both those guys. But back to my point, I can't remember if it was Jeremy or if it was Andrew that said it this way. But these errors seem to always go one way. Whether it's an error, a suppression, a block, whatever, it always only tends to benefit one side over the other. Prove me wrong. I feel like Crowder now, prove me wrong. Let me know in the comments. But it seems like every time, whether it's benefiting the left or it's hurting the right, ultimately it falls on that side of the equation. It's always in some way benefiting the left. It's very, very one-sided when these errors occur. and it's been happening for a long time now. However things land, they never seem to favor conservatives, nor appear to be random or impartial when they happen. They always lean that way to benefit the Democrats, the left, the progressives, the liberals, however you want to look at it. Again, I try to play the devil's advocate, and I can't really come up with any instances where I saw misinformation, suppressed information, blocked stuff that benefited a single conservative ever. Can't think of one instance. If you can, let me know in the comments section down below. But yeah, that's an observation that I've made as well. Just saying.
Hey guys, thanks for checking out this clip from the Morning Mayhem. Remember, this is just a portion of the full show that comes out every Friday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. If you hadn't already, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the full shows or these tasty little nuggets.